What happens when a strict policy runs straight into the top executive's inbox? Back in 2008, I worked for a massive multinational consulting company that was setting up what they proudly called a specialized development center in my country. The sales pitch was that we'd have elite developers producing high-quality code faster and cheaper than traditional teams. The actual setup was a bit different. Most of the developers were fresh graduates or university students who had been given a 2 to 3 week crash course on whatever technology their team happened to need. Each team had one tired senior developer, a couple of team leads trying to hold everything together, and a large group of juniors who were learning as they went. Supporting this entire ecosystem was our PMO/QA department. Just 4 people, me and another PMO guy, plus a QA senior and a QA junior. Together, we were expected to manage documentation, requirements, planning, testing, and quality across 14 to 16 dev teams with roughly 80 to 100 people. To make the situation even more interesting, the executives decided the new development center should pursue ISO certification. That meant documentation needed to be spotless, traceable, consistent, and complete. Suddenly, our workload doubled. Every requirement needed to follow a strict format. Every deliverable needed to be auditable. Every piece of information needed to look like it belonged inside a perfect system. Running the show was El Jefe, the head of the development center. He was known for cutting costs anywhere he could. He dissolved the local HR department entirely, insisting the one in another country could handle everything. He interviewed candidates personally, replacing formal aptitude testing with his own instincts, which is probably how we ended up with the most unusual group of developers on the planet. We had a narcoleptic goth metal enthusiast, a former bodyguard with an obsession for security gadgets, a guy who did parkour every weekend and regularly showed up on Monday unable to type, and so many other quirky personalities that you'd think we were filming a workplace sitcom. One day, El Jefe called me and my PMO colleague into his office. "The requirements that come into this center are unacceptable," he said. "ISO will not approve this. I want you two to draft a proper template and a guide that all clients must use. From now on, every requirement that doesn't meet the standard must be rejected. Everything, no exceptions. I'll send the rules to every client." I looked at him and tried to warn him. "Everything? Are you completely sure? Because for the internal project," but he cut me off immediately. "Don't argue. Everything means everything. Do your job and stop questioning it." So we did exactly what he asked. We wrote up the template, documented the acceptance criteria, prepared the rejection guidelines, and sent everything to him, along with meeting notes confirming every instruction he had given us. About a week later, we received new requirements for the internal application, an app being developed for the entire multinational company. These requirements came directly from the CTO. His documents were always unstructured, full of scattered ideas, brief sentences, and disconnected thoughts. It was the kind of document you had to read 3 times just to figure out where the real requirements began. This time, I didn't even open it. I hit reply, pasted the new required message, and sent it. Requirement rejected, not compliant with established standards. 30 seconds later, the phone rang. "This is CTO. Who authorized you to reject a requirement from me?" I answered calmly. "Hello, CTO. El Jefe instructed us to reject every requirement that doesn't follow ISO standards, regardless of who sends it." I tried to warn him that the internal project operates differently, but he told us to treat everything the same. "I can forward you the template and guide if you'd like to rewrite it." The call ended abruptly, not a single word in reply. Within seconds, we heard El Jefe's phone ring through the wall. We couldn't hear the CTO's words, but we heard enough from El Jefe. Yes, I understand. No, of course not. It won't happen again. I apologize. Absolutely. Thank you." He hung up. A moment later, he stepped out of his office looking like all the color had drained from his face. Slowly, he walked up to our desks and said, in the quietest voice I'd ever heard from him, "Guys, the internal application project is now excluded from the ISO scope, so you don't need to be strict with that one anymore." We nodded. He walked back to his office without another word.